Hi everyone, I'm your trainer Ria. Today we will talk about one-off. Heard about this phrase? Yes, I know. This is the most confusing one, right? We kind of use this in our daily lives, but we simply keep on making the mistakes, every now and then. So today we're going to discuss about this phrase, how we will use it in our daily life, alright? And the rules actually that are used so that we can make using this phrase much more easier. All right, now let's look at the few sentences. Okay, using one-off something. I know this looks a bit confusing as to how we're going to look at this lesson. All right, we'll start off one of the member. Now first rule, one of is singular. Yes, when you're talking about one of, meaning out of the many, we are talking about one. All right, firstly, one of is singular. Please register that. Okay, it is singular. We usually make a lot of mistakes as to this. The first rule is that one of is singular. Now one of what? Okay, we have to understand this. One of so many. All right, if you're talking about one of, that means you are talking about out of the many, that one. Now we've got something in pictorial to make you understand even much more better. All right, now this is the box with so many little guys here and there. Now we've got one that is in orange. Okay, majority of them are red, one is orange. So if I say one of the guys was red, or in this case, one of the guys was orange. All right, majority of them are red, but one is orange. So if I say out of the many, one is orange. All right, so one of the many. Does it register? Yes. All right, let's look at the sentences. One of the member was ill. Is that correct? No. Okay. One of is correct. The member, that's absolutely incorrect. It has to be in plural. All right. The second rule is the noun has to be in plural. We know that the member, student, executive, doctor, participant, tourist, they're all nouns. Okay. So we know that it is going to be a noun, whether it is a pronoun or a noun, but it has to be in plural. So let's make sentences using one of the members was ill. All right, one of the members was ill. You have to understand that it has to be in plural. Going on to the second one, one of the student. Is that correct? No, one of the students. Okay. One of the students was selected for the debate team. All right, makes it much more clearer. All right, going on to the third one. One of the executive, still incorrect. Okay, one of the executives was fraudulent. Yes. He was caught in some fraudulent activity, maybe in the business. Yes? All right. Let's make up that sentence. One of the executives was fraudulent. I hope. Yes. All right. One of the doctor? No. One of the doctors. Now it's registering. All right. So ensure that you know this rule. One of is singular. The noun has to be in plural. One of the doctors is attending the seminar. Yes, makes it much more easier. One of the participants, all right, one of the participants was attending the convention. Interesting. One of the participants was attending the convention. One of the tourists, or one of the tourists, okay, was lost in the jungle. Okay, so there was a bunch of tourists, moving around in the jungle, and one of them was lost. One of them was lost. Them, pronoun. All right, well, one of the tourists, noun, plural, noun. Okay, so please register that. Firstly, one of is singular. Second, okay, it is one of something. What is that something? Something is a noun or a pronoun, and it needs to be in plural. I hope you find that much more easier now. You enjoyed learning the previous sentences? Yes. Now it makes it much more easier to use the phrase one-off. Alright. Going into the third rule. We kind of discussed two, right? So we're going to go on the third one. Okay. So that it makes it much more easier. Now look at this sentence. One of the boys is tall. Okay. Now one of the most common thing that people do, a lot of them do, is one of, as we know, we discussed, the first rule is being singular. Now the boys is a plural noun. Okay. Now if some of them might argue the boys. Okay. So obviously, why are we using is? Okay. We should be using are. Of course, because this comes after the plural noun. All right. Actually, that makes the sentence incorrect. Okay. One of the boys are tall. One of the boys is tall. How is the second one correct? All right. Let's hide of the boys. Now you see it. Now you don't. Okay. Only one of the boys. Let's just cover it up. All right. One is tall or one are tall? Obviously, one is tall. Right now in this sentence, we're actually talking about one of the boys, not the many boys. All right. So the verb that is going to come after the plural noun is actually going to be singular. Please register this. All right. This is the third rule that you need to be aware of. One of the boys are is absolutely incorrect. All right. One of the boys is tall. All right. I hope you register this rule. Going into the second one. One of them is a plural pronoun. All right. One of them was selected to visit NASA. How lucky, right? One of them. Let's cover of them. If I cover of them, we're actually talking about one, right? So one was selected to visit NASA. Makes it much more clearer. Yes, just hide the plural noun or the plural pronoun, and it kind of makes sense as to why we're using the verb as a singular verb. All right. One of them was selected to visit NASA. Going to third example. One of the cars will go to the garage. Again, one of singular. The cars. Cars being plural noun. All right. So one of the cars will go to the garage. Will can be used for singular or it can be used for plural nouns and pronouns as well. All right. So I hope now you don't make that mistake. Always there are three components that you need to be aware of. First, one of is singular. Next, okay, the noun and the pronoun has to be in plural. And after that, the verb that is going to be followed is actually going to be singular. I hope now you understand how to use one of, all right, in our normal day-to-day conversation. It'll be so much easier if you keep on using and keep on practicing one of, and especially these three rules. So this brings me to the end of the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Now one of is much more clearer. Yes, just follow the rules. Keep watching this video and I'm sure you'll be able to understand and you'll be able to better use one of. This is Ria signing off. Goodbye.